Oh, well, the lighting is not as good out here as it was in the other. It's smudgy. It's a little bit better, but not a whole lot. Anyway, hi guys. So this is my third live in like a week and a half. I'm working on a video that I'll be posting on Tuesday, an update on Pika. But I thought I'd just hop on here and I usually try to post something twice a week, and if I don't have time to post something, then I usually try to do a live. So I thought, well, I'll just do 2 lives this week since I didn't post anything. So I am doing a quick live. I don't think I'm gonna stay on for a full hour, but just because this is like my third one, and I feel like you guys must be getting tired of me by now. But I did promise that I would do it. So here I am. I'm just pulling you guys up on my laptop so I can read the questions better. Hope you guys are having a good day. I'll let you guys pop on. If you're watching on the replay, after I'm done with my lives, they take a long time to actually post on my end. So after a day or so, when they actually post, and then I have time to sit down and go over everything, I put timestamps, and if we talk about any links or whatever, then I put them in the description box. So if you're ever wanting to watch some of these other lives, but maybe you don't want to watch the whole thing, you just want to see if maybe something that's interesting to you was discussed, you can actually go through the description box and kind of go to the timestamps of what we talk about for the most part. So just thought I'd mention that before we get too far in here. And I do that, I've done that on all of my lives. So not just this one, but all of the ones that I've done and probably will be like that as well. I don't want to promise for the future, but I don't plan to stop doing that because I like to think it's helpful. Might not be helpful, I don't know. Sorry, I need to stop talking so I can pull up this live and see your guys's questions or comments. There we are. There we are. Okay. Oh, Al Sugar Gliders, hi. Yay, so glad you guys could be here. All right, if we have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna stay on for a super long time. I'm shooting for maybe like 30 minutes or so today. Oh, fun, you just got to place a deposit on a little girl. That's so exciting. Where are you getting her from? I do have a male that is neutered. Yes, I have, oh, hi Lisa. I have I have 3 girls and 1 neutered boy that are all in the same colony, thankfully now. When you got your gliders, where were they all adults? Yeah, so when I got my gliders, Stella Luna was like 10 months old. Natiri was, I think, 9 or 10 weeks old. Balky was somewhere around 10 weeks old as well. And then Pika was 3.5. So I'm not sure where the line actually is, like when they go from being a joey to an adult, like what age, like, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but that's their ages. Obviously Pika was definitely an adult. Stella Luna was, I mean, to me, pretty adultish. 9 months old is pretty old. I wouldn't consider her a joey anymore, but yeah. I use water that is filtered with a Brita for my Suggies. What do you use? Yeah, I use, like our water out of our fridge has a filtration thing, so I just use it out of that. And in my area, they don't add fluoride to the water. And I know that's different in every area, but in my town, they don't add fluoride. And I know that's one reason why people use filtered or bottled water is because of that. So that's why I use it just filtered from the fridge. Let's see, Lisa Ann says, I'm having an issue with my non-neutered male. Okay, Lisa, can you give me some more details? I'm not an expert, but I'd be happy to try to help. Let's see, Cecilia White. Arlington, Texas from Fluffy Tail Sugar Gliders. That's a cute name. I'm not familiar with that breeder, but that's exciting. Ooh, you're watching live at home on TV? Wow. I'm on somebody's TV. I feel famous. Not really, but that's cool. Have your gliders ever acted super strange after a deep clean of the cage? No, my gliders, when I deep clean the cage, they are very, very curious. Like they really want to explore everything and they're very active and like checking everything out. But I wouldn't say they act strange. Hope you're well. I recently got 2 gliders a couple days ago. I tried to put them into a bonding pouch. As I was gently trying to put them in, one started crabbing. Should I stop in this case? No. Okay, so little side note, I'm a newborn photographer, and so I kind of think about this the same way. Like crabbing for a glider is kind of like crying for a newborn. And obviously they're trying to communicate, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily need to stop what you're doing. So like for a newborn session, I swaddle them. For those of you who don't know, you like wrap them kind of all up in a little cute little swaddle, and that soothes them and helps them go to sleep. But as you're wrapping them, oftentimes even if you're a parent and you've swaddled, you know that your baby might cry through it. And oftentimes new parents, or even when I was a new mom, I thought, oh, he doesn't like the swaddle, I should stop. And so then I never really did swaddle. But with my second one, I realized that there's some things you just need to work through the crying. And he would scream and cry, and as soon as I got the swaddle all the way on, he would stop crying and go to sleep. So I feel like crabbing's kind of the same way. Just because they're crabbing, you should take note of it, and you shouldn't maybe push it too far. But if it's something that's ultimately going to benefit them, and I believe that socialization and bonding with humans does ultimately improve the life of their glider because they're less nervous and scared and fearful all the time, and they have more rich, enriching interactions, you should push through that for sure, in my opinion. I found a pair of 2 girls. They're being out to adoption if I don't get them. The owner needs to move to an apartment. Do sugar gliders still bond well if they're a little older with a different owner? So Pika, I can only speak to Pika. Well, I guess Stella was 9 months. But Pika is bonding fine with me. I mean, it's slow. Like bonding with any glider really is not usually gonna be instant. You know, it's usually a slow, steady progress and a process. And she's definitely learning to trust me more. She's way less nervous. She seems more eager to see me when she sees me in the cage. And I got her when she was 3.5, and she was a rehome. So she went from the breeder to the person that I got her from, who only had her for like 5 weeks, and then to me. So I mean, as long as you can be patient, and I think that, I don't know. I really think that it depends on the sugar glider's personality. Some will say that a baby glider like a Joey is gonna bond more than an adult. I think that that can be the case, but I don't think it's always the case. It's not like a consistent rule of thumb, if that makes sense. Let's see. I'm sorry, with my neutered male, I have one neutered and one that isn't. My neutered male is attacking my female, and it's only started happening after my non-neutered male and female mated. I do have 2 females and 1 neutered male and 1 non-neutered male. I don't know. Lisa, oh, there we go. Lisa's in here. I was going to say, help me. She's a breeder, and I don't know. She says, having a combo of 1 intact male and 1 neutered with 2 females is a disaster waiting to happen. I would seriously get the male neutered and separate until you can. Okay, thank you, Lisa. I didn't know about, I mean, that's kind of what I was going to guess, but I don't know. I'm not a breeder, so. Can you teach sugar gliders to be friendly to strangers? I think you can. It depends on the glider's personality, but I think you can socialize gliders. They're never going to be as trusting of a stranger as they are with you, most likely, but like my gliders, Balky, Natiri, and Stella Luna. I haven't tried this with Pika yet just because she's so new, but I've had multiple people hold them. I just have them perch on their arm. And they definitely want to come to me, but they don't like attack people or whatever. They will let people pet them. Stella Luna, more than all of them, she's kind of has a chill personality, so she's just more docile in that way. So I think that the more that you expose them consistently to other people, to other noises, other environments, taking them around in the bonding bag in different places, I do think that they can become more social. I mean, they're never going to be like puppies or dogs, you know, or even cats, but I think they can be more social with strangers and friendly than if you just never expose them to anybody. That I think. Let's see, I did a deep clean of the cage 2 nights ago and my gliders were going nuts last night. Very erratic, jumping everywhere, and had a ton of energy. I was thinking it might also be puberty. They are about 7 months old. It was just new and I wasn't sure what was going on. Oh, yeah, I think that they're probably excited and trying to figure out what everything was going on. And mine are very active after I do a deep clean of the cage. Some gliders, it's like very disturbing to them apparently when their cage gets messed with. My gliders are just very curious and excited to see what's going on, is the way I interpret their behavior. So that's probably just what was happening. Let's see. Lisa is commenting on the one neutered, one non-neutered male and 2 females in the same cage. She says you'll end up with both females pregnant and risk Joey stealing and cannibalization and fighting injuries or worse. Yeah, so if you have, and this is the main reason why I don't breed, is I want one large colony. And when you have one large colony, there's lots of different dynamics in there. If you have a baby, if you have a Joey, like if you have a pregnant glider and there's another girl, she's going to sometimes can go in after the baby's born or exposed or whatever, will actually pull the Joey sometimes out of the mom's pouch, I've heard, but definitely when they're little, and actually eat them. So it's just not something, it's, yeah, plus then if that Joey is a girl, you're gonna have to get your guy neutered anyway, otherwise he's gonna mate with his daughter. So there's just a lot that goes into that. So I would definitely, if you're gonna have a large colony, I would neuter everybody. Well, not the girls, but any boys need to be neutered, in my opinion. When I bring my gliders into the bathroom for tub bonding, they don't come out. Should I gently try to get them out or just leave them and see if they come out over time? Oh yeah, you gotta push them out. Again, back to the newborn baby analogy, there's certain things like bonding with their human and interacting with people and getting up during the day. This is just my opinion, but I think that if during the day or like, you know, early evening is when you are going to bond with them, that's usually when I would do bonding, where I would actually want them to be awake for a while, would be early evening. But even during the day, if that's the only time you have, I would I mean, you have to wake them up because they're nocturnal. They're not going to they're not going to be curious enough to get out of the pouch typically, unless you've developed a routine where they know that when they get out of the pouch during the day in the tub, they get treats and it's fun and there's stuff to do. They're not going to have as much energy during the day as they do at night, because it's like if we woke up in the middle of the night. But if somebody consistently woke my child up in the middle of the night and gave them a toy and a treat, the first couple times it would be hard for him to wake up, but after he did it a few times, he would be happy to wake. He'd be like, oh yay, it's toy and treat time. I mean, sugar gliders are kind of the same way. So yeah, you have to force them out of the pouch, otherwise they'll just sleep there. Once you've developed the habit, then they might wake up on their own though. They've been fine up until right now. They've been in the same cage for months and it only started happening 2 nights ago. He's 5 years old and I'm not neutering him now. Okay, so they're going back and forth. We're going back and forth. That's fine if you don't want to neuter him, but he really shouldn't be with another male, in my opinion. I mean, you're asking for our opinion, so that's what my opinion is. I'm glad you separated him right when he attacked her. That was very good judgment. And Lisa's saying she's neutered older gliders with no problems at all. And then she's saying it almost like he comes up behind her and grabbed her and she doesn't like it, so he ran and nipped at her. Okay. Was Balky neutered when you got him? I have a little boy named Blake and he is about 2 months out of pouch now. He goes back and forth from being sweet and biting like the devil and crabbing. Yeah, so my Balky was neutered when I got him. Most breeders will neuter their males before selling them. That's if you're getting them from a breeder that is not having them neutered, that tends to be kind of a red flag. Not to say that you can't have like talked through that with your breeder and maybe come to a conclusion that you wanted to get them and then have them neutered, like that's fine. I mean, if you, but standard practice for breeding responsibly is that you have the male neutered before you sell them. So it was a full moon Wednesday night. Moon phases affect Suggies. Yeah, they do. I haven't really noticed that with mine, but that's what I've heard. I've heard some people say that you have a glider outside every that oh wait. I've heard people say that you have to glider outside every day for a few hours. I know you need to take them out of their cage a lot, but do you need to take them outdoors? No, I mean, there's some people that say that they need exposure to vitamin D and like natural light. I think there's some studies coming out about that. I don't think that's anything that's definitively proven. They don't like, I mean, they're very sensitive to the light. So to take them outdoors for outside of a bonding bag, for one, is pretty dangerous. And for two, would not be enjoyable for them. It'd be probably be too bright. I would say if you could put them by a window, they need to be able to see that it's daytime. Like you wouldn't want to have a glider in a room in like a basement with no windows so they couldn't tell the difference between night and day, but you don't need to take them outside. They probably mean you need to take them out of their cage so that they get interacted with, either sleeping on you or in a bonding bag or handling or whatever during the day. I think he's very protective of his sister Gwen, who is also about 2 months out of pouch. I'm not sure if that or if he's not tolerating us yet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any experience with Joey's. I'm sorry. I don't know. I've never had a, yeah, I don't know. Oh, good question. Do you have to refill the water bottle every day? I know that some people do. I personally do not. I think that that's a little excessive. I've had my gliders for like 4 years and I've never given them like fresh water daily. I mean, I don't fill the water bottles up a ton anymore. I try to fill them up just a little bit so that they, you know, they drink it down and then it's fresh when I fill it back up. But no, I don't give them fresh water daily. If you're giving it to them in a bowl or even a water silo, it probably should be fresh daily just because it can get dirtier that way. But if it's from a water bottle, I don't think that that's, personally, I don't think that's necessary. If you feel more comfortable doing that, absolutely do it. If you think that they need to have fresh water every day, then that's absolutely fine. But if you're asking what I personally do, I don't. But that's because I use water bottles, and if I had water silos, that would be different. I did just get a water silo, and so when I put water in there, then I probably will change it out more frequently than I do my water bottles though. Hi, I have a glider, father and son. I don't know if I have to neuter them both or will they be fine not being neutered. I don't know. Do you have, okay, first of all, I don't really know why more people don't just neuter their males. I mean, unless you're planning on starting a breeding program, like a reputable breeding program with lineage, so that you know that your gliders definitively are not related and they couldn't be related. Now, here's just a little thing. A lot of times people think, well, of course my glider's not related. I know who they're, I know that, you know, I got one glider from this person and another glider from another person. Of course they're not related. The gene pool of gliders, the original gene pool of gliders, is very small. So unless you have documentation of what their lineage is, you don't actually know that they're not related. Like Balky and Pika could be related. Even though I got Pika from a completely different place of the states than I got Balky, they could be related. So if they had babies, they could, and they're not going to be brother and sister most likely, but they could be cousins. And so they could, that baby could have issues. So that's why they say if you're going to breed, you need to have lineage. So unless you're going to breed with lineage, I don't think that you should have your glider unneutered. I mean, I just don't really, they can be more aggressive. They're stinkier. You can't really have a female unless you plan to have babies, and you really shouldn't plan to have babies unless you have lineage on both of those gliders. So that's my personal opinion. So I don't know if if you're planning to just have a father-son and not add any more gliders to the colony, that might work out fine. I don't know exactly, maybe somebody else with more experience can comment, but in my opinion, it would be better just to neuter the guy that's not neutered. That's just my personal opinion. And them being father-son or mother-daughter or father-daughter doesn't really play a role in if they're going to mate with each other or if they will like each other more. I mean, obviously they're going to be maybe more bonded, but like if you're talking about males, like two unneutered males, even if they're father-son, are probably going to fight and it's not going to be good. So just because they are related that way, don't assume that you won't have issues, if that makes sense. I might get sugar gliders. Are there any tips you might have for new owners? I have a whole playlist of tips for new owners. So yes, I have lots. My whole channel basically is tips for new owners. So yeah, if you want to check that out, that would be really great. What age is recommended that they can go with you on errands around town? In a bonding bag for sure. They are currently 17 weeks out of pouch, or is it more dependent on the level of the current bond? Oh, I think that so in my, just again, this is just my experience, but as soon as I got Natiri and Stella, I took them out in a bonding bag all the time. And Natiri was probably 10 weeks out of pouch. I think the earlier you can socialize them, the better. I don't think you need, and socializing, being in a bonding pouch, being in a bonding bag, that all goes hand in hand. Because when they're out in the bonding bag, they're out in the world, you know, running errands, being at work, whatever, they're hearing other people's voices, they're smelling new things, they're hearing you, and they're realizing that, hey, this might be a little bit scary, but we're not dying. And every time they do it, they don't die. And so every time it becomes a little bit less scary until they're totally fine with it. They're just like, oh yeah, this is what we do, it's fine. So I absolutely think that you can start doing it at 17 weeks out of pouch. I think you can do it a lot earlier than that. Yeah. Al Glider says it literally costs $110 to neuter a glider. People want all of the fun but don't want to pay for the responsibility that comes along with owning gliders, like yearly vet trips and neutering. That is unfortunately true, and I don't know if that's the case in this, you know, with this person specifically, but in general, yeah, that happens a lot. I think we tend to kind of think, well, what's the minimum that I could spend to get this new pet? And with sugar gliders specifically, and really exotic animals across the board, pets in general, you really shouldn't have that attitude, in my opinion, because you don't want to be thinking what's the bare minimum and then I'll do that and then just pray that nothing goes wrong and I don't have to take them to a vet or they don't have any specialized needs or whatever. You have to like anticipate that there's going to be a range of time commitment, funds, you know, resources that you might need for these animals. So it's not, I mean, I know that some places are more expensive for a neuter. So, and like what Al's saying is that Al Sugar Gliders is saying that her in her area, she can get one for $110. I think that is probably about average. That doesn't mean that it couldn't be more expensive in some areas, but I really don't know that there's a great reason to not. Even older gliders, they can be neutered. I mean, it's, especially if you do it with a laser, it's not a crazy invasive procedure. And I think that ultimately it ends up being better for the glider in the long run, personally. Let's see, just wanted to say hi. I just happened to catch this live for a minute before bed. Work super early in the morning, but I'm glad I caught it for a little bit. Oh, hi, Sarah. Glad you could say hi. Let's see, Al Sugar Glider says, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, rats or hamsters make great pets as well, and the cost is a fraction of what gliders do. Their lifespan is only 2 to 3 years. Yeah. Let's see. This person is responding to Al Sugar Gliders. We knew the parameters before we got the babies. Money isn't a problem. I was just asking a question. Yeah. And I, you know, obviously we need to be careful not to assume somebody's motives or whatever. I think that in general, if you're talking about in general terms, some people do underestimate the cost for things. That doesn't mean that because somebody's asking a question, they've underestimated the cost. And sometimes I think people don't want to take them in for a neuter just because they feel bad and they're like, oh, that's sad, I don't want to get his balls cut off. You know, they don't want to have to put them through that if they don't feel it's necessary, and that's your call. But it does limit the types of interactions that glider can have with other gliders, and it can lead to more problems later. Ooh, I'm caught up. I'm gonna take a sip. Okay, I think I'm gonna probably only be on for about 5 more minutes. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. By the way, Biggest Little Gliders, I don't think Al Sugar Gliders was really referring to your question even. I'm kind of scrolling back and I don't think she was really referring to your question directly. So please, I hope you're not offended. Oh, Lisa, that's interesting. A neuter prevents testicular cancer. I guess it would be hard to have testicular cancer if you don't have any testicles. So that's another factor. Let's see. Oh, good. Thanks for clearing that up. I appreciate your videos and love watching the progression of Pika. Thank you, Biggest Little Gliders. That's a cute name. I'm not sure if you saw my question. Sorry for repeating if you did. I was wondering what vegetables, fruit, herbs you're recommending for giving sugar gliders. There's a whole list of approved fruits and vegetables and that kind of thing. I can't possibly list off the whole thing. But if you go to like the Pet Glider website and look at their recipe, they have a big long list of fruits and vegetables. That's not the only place they have it, but that's one place you could find it. As far as herbs and stuff, the only ones that I've personally given is parsley, cilantro, and dandelion greens. And I think that's all that I've given. They really like this cilantro. Parsley, they're not a huge fan of, and dandelion greens, they like okay. My little herb gardens are kind of dying, and my mealyworm farm was a failure. So if you've watched those videos, don't assume that I still have those things, because I don't. Let's see. Thank you for doing live this time of the day. Yeah, you're welcome. I put out a poll to see if people wanted to do it at 4 today or at 9 today, my time, and the majority said 4, so that's what we did. Although I look really tired. I'm sorry if my looking tired offends you. I've had kind of a long day. Today was the first day of online school for my kids, which actually went pretty good. And then I went into work after that and then went right into this. So, and it was just a really, really hectic day at work. So anyway, I'm just a little tired today. Oh, you're welcome for answering your question. Sugar gliders can be feisty. Yes, that is true. Ooh, what my favorite color of glider is. I love that question. Thank you, Amaya, for asking that question. I hope I pronounced your name right. I really like mosaics, and I really like gliders that have light coloring on their faces. Of course, every sugar glider is cute, but like Black Beauties and like standards, and the ones that have more traditional coloring on their face that's darker, I feel like you can't see their features quite as clearly as you can when their face is kind of more defined by having light colors on it. I don't know if that makes sense. But so I really like mosaics because they're also different. Like Pika and Valky are both mosaics and their coloring is way different. My husband says he has a hard time telling them apart, but that must just be because he's seeing them like run around the cage or something, because it's like, how could you not, I don't know, they look completely different to me, but that's just me. Like Pika has gray, like light gray kind of around her eyes, and Balky has a dark black circle around both of his eyes, like he looks like he has black eyeliner. And she has actually some more kind of warmer tones in her coat, where he's like really very like white and gray, where she has a little bit more like creamy colors in her coat, and the patterns on their coats are different. So I really like that. I also think that pied gliders are really cool looking, especially like, excuse me, especially like wow pied, which if you don't know what that is, if you Google wow pied Eurogliders, it's basically like, I don't know, I don't want to describe it, but that's one of my favorites. Oh, thank you guys for saying I look good. That's very sweet of you. I can see myself in the monitor though, and I've had better days, but that's okay. Let's see, not a question, but I wanted to say hi and how much of an inspiration for me and my glider. How much of an inspiration for me and my gliders. I'm only 20 and these are my first official pets, and your videos have helped so much. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. One of my joys was a little feisty. One of my joys was a feisty little brat, and after his neuter, he calmed down a lot. Took about a month to see the complete effects, so don't expect miracles overnight. That's good to know. Thank you, Lisa. And if you could describe each of your gliders in one word, what would they be? Man, good question. Again, with a good question from Amaya. Not that all of these aren't good questions. I'm not trying to make sound like your guys' other questions are bad, but I like these because it's not like, they're just like fun kind of trivia questions. Let's see. Ooh, that's so hard. Stella Luna, I would have to just say love, because she's my little love, and she's the one that loves me the most and is more chill. If I had to pick another word, I would say chill, I guess. Natiri. Ooh. Treats. She's very treat motivated, hence her weight issue. Balky, I know this is bad, but I just think of him as he's my nipper. I mean, he even though he loves me, he just likes to nip at me, and it just is so funny. I don't know. He's also very cautious, so I could say cautious maybe. And Pika, I don't really know because I'm still like, her personality is kind of developing still. I'll say tail carrier, even though that's 2 words, just because I love that she's a tail carrier. Let's see. Oh, hi Maine Coon and Sphinx and Sugar Gliders. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't get the alert pop up on your thing. YouTube is weird sometimes. Sometimes they don't do that. My new cage. No, I don't have any updates. And I can't really explain why I don't, because I'm trying to have this big reveal. Anyway, basically where I ordered it from, they can't give me an ETA for different reasons, and the last ETA I got was maybe the end of July. Now it is September. But you know what though, when I made this arrangement, I knew that it wasn't going to be, they couldn't give me a definitive answer, and I'll explain more later, but they couldn't say it's going to be here by this day. They gave me a range of times, and this is a little longer than the range, but that was also before the world became what it is now in this season of our life. So no, I don't have my cage. Hopefully soon, but you know what? Today is 1 day closer to getting my cage than it was yesterday. So I'm 1 day closer. My 2 are standard gray with some black beauty feet and arms, and very difficult to tell apart. Yeah, and that's why I really like having one of like each different colors, because I can have a bunch of different mosaics because none of them are going to look the same, but I wouldn't want to like two white faces. Well, you'd probably be able to tell the difference because of their weight, but like people that have like 4 different gliders with the same coloring, I know that they can tell the difference when they're really examining them. Like usually there's something that's a little bit different, or like their personality is different, but just watching them in the cage, I really like being able to tell the difference in my gliders. So, and I'm just weird and I just like collecting variety, I guess. Lisa Newman, awesome. That's good to know. Thank you for sharing. We are trying to be patient with him. Definitely looking forward to him being a little bit sweeter. Finally got on for a live, relax and chill. Hey, yeah, I know your online school has been getting in the way. If you have a burning question, please ask it, because I'm actually planning to sign off really soon. Because I said short, quick live, and it's now 40 minutes in almost. Today we decided to up our bonding from tent time to stay on me. Ooh. We did our first session and they did amazing. They were running around, but they didn't jump off of me. That's awesome. So cool. And you know, I'm very supportive of whatever anybody wants to do with whatever bonding method people choose. I think any of it is great. You just have to find what works best with your lifestyle and your personality. And staying on me training is what I love the most. But some people love tent time and they would never want to give that up for staying on me training. So that's cool. Keep me posted on how that's going, okay? Al Sugar Gliders, I have 5 standards and it's so hard to tell them apart unless I'm a foot away from them. Totally, I know you do. I've been watching a ton of your videos. Because you have 5 standards and 1 leucistic, right? Casper. I love that name. I love that. The Casper the Friendly Ghost movie I just watched with my kids the other day again. Well, I mean, I watched it when I was a kid and then I just watched it with them. Let's see, if you could go to TPG and pick out 1 free man, you are a girl. I love your questions. You need to come to all of my lives. If you could go to TPG and pick out 1 free glider, would you, or do you think that your colony is complete after Pika is bonded? Oh, I totally would. For a couple reasons. 1, because I want a big colony. I want eventually, and this is just like, I don't know if this is actually realistic or ever going to happen, but in my dreams, I have a colony of like 7 or 8, and I only have 4. So, and for 2, I would love to do a video about going to the pet glider and getting a free glider. That would be amazing. Like, that would be great material for my YouTube channel and educational and all kinds of stuff. So yes, I would. I would do it. And right now I'm not getting another one, not because of really finances necessarily, but because I really want to get my new cage, and I really want to get one of Lisa's that's on here. I want to get one of her babies, and she's not able to travel to me right now because of the state of the world. So, boo. And yeah, and I just got done transitioning Pika, so I kind of like to have a break, just like bond with them and take some time and spread that out a little bit. But if somebody was gonna fly me to Texas and give me a free glider and fly us back, I don't think that you could even do, I don't know. Anyway, yes, I would. Would you recommend a 2 or 4 glider cage in the beginning for easier bonding, or just go larger in the cage in the beginning bonding stage? I think that you should go large from the beginning. I think the idea of having a small cage and then upgrading to a big cage is, for one, doesn't make very much financial sense, because then you're buying 2 cages. For 2, I don't really agree that a small cage makes for easier bonding. I know that's a theory out there, but unless you're gonna be awake with your glider all night, I think the more space that they can have, the better. And I don't think it's really gonna inhibit your bonding. I mean, I have a nice big cage, and it hasn't inhibited my bonding at all. So I know that's a theory out there, but I would say get the big cage from the beginning. Cage prices and availability has been affected due to 2 reasons: COVID affecting shipping and tariffs on Chinese steel. Yeah. Darn it. I should have ordered it like a year ago before all this. Yes, you're welcome. I will have a great night. Thank you. How do you do stay on me bonding without a tub or small safe room? Shannon L. I have lots of videos. Stay on me bonding is the bonding method that I've chosen. And so pretty much all of my videos that you see would support that. And I have a step-by-step bonding guide where I talk about stay on me bonding. And basically the long and short of it is that you don't do tent time and you don't do bathroom bonding time, and you train them with your hands and consistency to stay on you. And first you start off in this little window here. You don't let them go on your back. If they go on your back, you slowly back up against a wall so that they come out. They can even be on your head, that's fine. Pika likes to be on my head. They don't run down your legs, they don't jump off, and you block them from doing that with your hand. You know, you don't let them get a target, you stay moving. But you can't really do tent bonding and bathroom tub bonding and stay on me training very effectively, in my opinion, because when you're doing tent bonding, they're encouraged to jump off of you and then jump back onto you and jump off of you. So a lot of my videos, I talk about that. I love you. Thank you, I love you. Oh, I'm a permanent fixture in your kitchen. You're a permanent fixture in my kitchen. I watch your videos a lot while I'm cooking. Hi. Oh, hi, Grace. Let's see. My girls have Joey's in pouch again. I know, Lisa. I know. Border. Open up, Border. I need to hold these babies. Let's see. Sorry, I wasn't clear. Mine still want to jump away the moment they can. Oh, yeah. So, okay. So you would start off in a safe room. So if as soon as they get on you, they jump off of you, you need to be in like a bathroom or a closet or someplace where it's okay that you'll be able to scoop them up quickly. Have a big piece of fleece, scoop them up and put them right back on. If they jump off again, well, first of all, try to block them so they can't target. They usually don't jump without targeting first. So you guide them and block them with your hands. And then if they do make it off of you, you scoop them up and put them right back on before they even get a chance to explore. That's what my recommendation would be. This might be a weird question, but if gliders could talk and you could choose, what would you have to talk? Let's see, what would you, okay, hold on, let me start this. I know this is gonna be good, let me start over. This might be a weird question, but if gliders could talk and you could choose, would you have to talk? Because I feel like part of the beauty of having pets is that they can't talk. Oh, like if I could choose if my gliders could talk or not? I don't know if I could, I don't know if I would want that. I mean, I think I would like them to talk for like a day, but they might be cussing me out half the time. Or they might be like saying how much they don't like me. I don't know. Although, so I'm, this is a super side note, but I'm an evangelical Christian and we talk with my kids all the time about how it's going to be cool because there's a theory from some Bible texts that maybe animals did talk before the fall. This is like getting really theological. I'm sorry, bear with me. But there's a theory that when in heaven or during like the millennial reign, which if you're not a Christian, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's okay. That animals might talk. And so I think that would be really cool. I actually really like that idea. So I guess I would pick them to talk. I think that would be cool. That was the weirdest answer to that question probably ever, but I hope you understood what I was saying. Okay, oh my gosh, this is not gonna, I'm gonna have to rename this. This is not a quick live. That's okay. I'll rename it and I'll just keep talking because now I'm having fun. You guys energize me and you're asking great questions. Oh, can I please use the link to the tent that I use, please? So in almost every one of my videos where I show the tent, I have a link to the tent. So I will ask you if you could maybe reference one of those videos and go to the description box because I've already posted that. If I remember, I can post it in this one, but I won't post that for a couple days as far as like the description box filling that out. So I would go to one of those videos and reference that. Thanks for thanks for answering my question. Love your videos. Also, the father doesn't like mealworms, but loves the dry mealworms. Is there any way for him to eat alive? I think she means live mealyworms. I would keep offering them, but if he likes dried ones, then that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with, I mean, they don't have as much nutritional value, but it's easier. You can easily hide them in foraging cups. You don't have to worry about them like escaping and getting in your house. I'm thinking about getting a sugar glider. Which breed should I get? Like which coloring? Is that what you mean? I kind of depends on what you like. I personally like mosaics. We talked about that earlier. So yeah. Let's see. Sorry for that. Is there any way that he could eat live mealyworms without him noticing? Oh, I'm pretty sure he would notice, but if you put them in the fridge, they're actually very docile. They don't wiggle around as much because they kind of almost go into like this hibernation. That's actually how I've been storing mine so they last longer. And so he might maybe try that because they're more still when you pick them up and give it to them than when they're like when they haven't been in the fridge. So you could try that. I'm not a Christian, but I believe the same thing. Yeah, isn't it fun to think about animals talking? I like it. Um, let's see, there's no breeds, but there are colors. But before you choose, make sure that you research so you know what you're getting yourself into. They aren't easy, they are exotic. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I meant like genders, like together, should I put the same genders together? Oh, okay. So, yeah, you can mix genders if your male is neutered. If your male's not neutered, it opens up a whole other can of worms that we talked about earlier in this live, actually, that you probably weren't on for. So I'm not going to rehash that, but when I post this, watch the first part because we talk about that. But you can have males or females, but if you have males, they really need to be neutered unless you're going to, anyway, we talked about that all. I'm not going to reiterate all of that. I would rewatch that because we had a pretty good discussion about that. And you know, some people say, oh, males are sweeter, oh, females are sweeter. I haven't found that to be the case. I think that every glider has their own personality, and male or female doesn't really make that big of a difference, in my opinion. Let's see, Maine Coon and Sphinx and Sugar Glider says, I'm Christian, I love animals, they talk to you in different ways. Yeah, I actually think it's kind of cool that they don't talk in some ways because it makes you listen more. Like it makes you be more observant of their behaviors and their mannerisms, and makes you slow down and like really think about what they might want. It's also a little bit frustrating though, because it's kind of like having a newborn baby where they might be crying, but you don't know exactly what's wrong. You really have to kind of process of elimination. So that's why I think it would be kind of cool to be able to communicate that way. But there's also benefits to the other way. So I see why God did that. You could cut a live mealyworm in half and offer it to him. I didn't really think about that. Yeah, you could just kill it first. Not a question, but I wish I could, but pics in the chat, put pictures in the chat because I got a new 12-week-old female sugar glider and I wish I could show you. Okay, well you can, not on YouTube, but on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is sugar_glider_diaries. And lots of people send me DMs and including pictures of their sugar gliders, and then we can have conversations that way. So you can feel free to do that if you would like. Thank you so much. This live is so helpful. Oh, good. Lots of Disney movies with talking animals. How could you not think it's possible? I know, if it happens in Disney movies, it must be some sort of factual base, right? I do think that it's interesting though that like we as humans are fascinated by the idea of an animal talking, and that's kind of supports my theory that maybe animals did talk before the fall. And when I say the fall, I mean when Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit and sin came into the world. And the theory is that when Satan disguised himself as a serpent, so a snake, and he talked to Eve, she didn't really seem to think much of it. I mean, she didn't say, this is totally normal, animals talk. I mean, it wasn't like written in scripture like that, but it doesn't note that she found it suspicious or she was like, what? A talking snake? What the heck? She just had a conversation with him. So that makes me think that, and not just me, but theologians think that maybe animals did talk. Okay. What's your sugar glider's favorite treat and which do you recommend? Okay, so my sugar gliders have, I would say, 4 favorite treats. First one is mealie worms. Live mealie worms, not dried. They will eat dried, but they don't really like them that much. Live mealie worms are their number 1. They're like crack. Number 2, and probably might be tied with number 1, I just don't give it to them very often, is white chocolate chips. They seem to get more frantic over the mealies, but I also give them to them more often and more of them. Like if I give them a white chocolate chip, they get one and then like maybe 2. And now I'm actually cutting them in half, so they're getting like a half, just because they're full of, I mean, it's like having a candy bar for a glider, so I don't give it to them that often. Stella Luna, if she's sweet and she wants to come to me from the cage at night, does get a half of one, and so does Balky. Natiri doesn't because she's chubby, and I'm trying to get her to not be as chubby. And Pika can have them too, but her blood sugar levels at the doctor were kind of weird, and so I'm trying not to give her a lot of sugary stuff. Anyway, so mealies, white chocolate chips. White chocolate chips do not have any cocoa in them, so you can give them. They're the same as like Yogi's. Fish sticks, which fish sticks are not the kind of fish sticks that you cook for your kids and put tartar sauce on. They're specific. I will put a link in the description box below. It's an affiliate link, so if you purchase your fish sticks from that link, I actually get paid a little bit of money, but you don't pay any extra. So I will put that link in the description box below. They also really like papaya, and dried papaya. And I don't give that to them a lot either because the one I have does have some added sugar in it. You could probably get dried papaya that doesn't, but the one that I have does, so I don't give it to them very often. And then for foraging, like around the cage, the fish sticks are great for that, but also, oh my gosh, pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, unsalted pumpkin seeds, are great for hiding around the cage and foraging and it's also good for their teeth because they really have to work at it and chew it and pick, they eat the inside out basically. So I like that it kind of cleans their teeth a little bit. Whew, that was a long answer, so sorry. Hi, if you can get rid of one habit that your gliders do, what would it be? Biting. I don't like it. And if they never bit, then I think I would interact with them more freely. And that's why I would get rid of it. Balky nips me, and so then I can't just like stick my hands in the pouch anymore because I'm afraid that he's gonna nip me. Even though it doesn't really hurt that bad. So I would say nipping and biting. The crabbing really doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of funny actually. Do you have any pet peeves of when somebody talks about gliders, and they say something totally wrong? Because mine is when they call them like rats or squirrels, and I just feel like, emojis. Yeah, that's such a great question. Oh my gosh, you need to come to all of my lives. I love these questions. Yeah, I hate when they call them rodents. I don't know why, because it's not like I even think that rodents are disgusting. I just feel like it's so inaccurate. And they don't carry disease like rodents do, so I feel like there's a stigma out there about rodents, and I don't want people to put that on the gliders. Some people, and I even have said, like, they're like flying squirrels, but they're marsupials. Like, I put that like right together because they're not flying squirrels. They're not squirrels. They're not rodents. That drives me nuts. That's the biggest one, I think. Yeah, when they call them rodents. I'm on vacation. It's a good thing I didn't miss this. Oh, good. I'm glad you didn't miss it either. I'm going back and forth between getting another glider. We have 2. What do you think? More the merrier. No, I actually think that large colonies are fun because this is kind of depressing, but when one of them passes away, they're not left by themselves. They have a friend still, and then you can just continually add to the colony, is my theory. I don't know. Not very many people do it though, so it makes me think that my theory might be crazy, but not very many people hand tame and get them to stay on them either, and that seems to be working well for me. So I think I'm just gonna go with my theory that large colonies are fun. And they do take more work to introduce sometimes. And there is a small possibility that no matter how much you try and how much you introduce, that they just might never accept each other. So you have to be prepared for that as far as cages and stuff go. But I think you should add another one. Mealworms are nutritious for sure. Mealworms are nutritious for sugar gliders, but they're not like something that they can just have as many as they want all the time. Like I've seen people on different videos that have like a whole dish and they just put the whole dish in their cage, and it's like, oh my gosh, no. They should really only have maybe like 2 to 4 a day max, I would say. I don't give mine mealyworms every day even. I give it to them every few days, and a lot when I do nail trims, but no. I mean, they're high in fat, and yeah, and they don't have a good calcium phosphorus ratio, which is important for gliders. So yeah, I wouldn't do a ton. They're way more nutritious than white chocolate chips though, that's for sure. Let's see, mine don't eat dried worms, so I have to buy live ones. They love them, yeah. Mine don't take the dried worms from my hand. They know that my hand means the best, which is good. I've trained them well. But if I've had dried mealyworms in the past and I've hid them in like foraging things around the cage, and they will eat them then, but they don't get excited about dried mealyworms. Let's see. Mine don't eat dried, oh yeah, okay. Another theory is Eve took, I don't know how to pronounce that word, but some sort of hallucinogenic, and she was tripping. I like my theory better. She could have been, I guess. I mean, doesn't say, I guess. Let's see, do you feed sugar gliders fruit to eat or as a snack? Yeah, well, fruit is part of the diet that I feed. I have a diet video, and it's important with sugar gliders that you feed a balanced diet that's been studied and approved by people that know what they're doing. And I have a diet video, so I will just reference you to that. But yes, fruit is part of their diet, but I don't really give it to them as treats per se because it's mixed in with their diet. I do sometimes put some chopped up fruit or vegetables as like an extra foraging thing, but it's messier than a lot of the foraging things that I prefer, so yeah. The forbidden fruit was psychedelics. Really? That's a theory out there? Okay. Never thought about that. I guess so. I guess that's a possibility. Let's see. Back to the live stream. I have another question. If you don't mind, do you recommend getting sugar gliders chew toys? If you do, which ones? The only thing that I really heard for chewing for gliders is what is the word? Oh my gosh. I can't think of the word. It's a specific kind of wood. It's like a bark kind of a wood. Oh my gosh. Somebody help me. I can't think of the word. But people will put little pieces of that. Oh, cork bark. Some people will put cork bark, little pieces of cork bark in the pouches even for gliders that have a chewing habit. Most gliders aren't chewers though. So I don't know that that's really necessary unless you have a glider that likes to chew on their pouch. I thought pumpkin seeds splintered when eating. Will they get hurt eating them? Which is better, sunflower or pumpkin seeds? I've never seen a pumpkin seed that they've chewed on splinter. They're not really like sunflower seeds in that way. So I've never had an issue with that, and I've never fed mine sunflower seeds, so I don't know about that. I had a friend that called my sugar gliders a rat with wings. Yeah, I've heard that as well. Don't like it. Can classic gray make another type of sugar glider? Yes, if you I believe so. I'm not a breeder. I shouldn't even be answering this question, but I believe it depends on their lineage. So like, so say I don't know. I'm not going to make a comment because I don't know. I think it's a possibility, but it's very rare, I would say, unless you know that in their lineage they have other genes. So like you could have two gliders that are, you know, different colors, and then they could produce a classic gray glider. I think classic grays are always a possibility. So that makes me think that a glider that came from those gliders could possibly produce a glider with other colors, but I don't know. Lisa, please save me from myself. I don't know what I'm talking about. If you're still here, please save me. I don't know. Okay, oh boy. Is it good to breed your sugar gliders? I don't think it's a good or bad. I just think it needs to be done responsibly. And we talked about this earlier in the video, so I would just watch the replay on that. Ooh, it's 8 a.m. there. Where are you? Are sugar gliders friendly with other pets? I would not experiment around to find that out. There have been many tragic things happen where people thought, oh, well, they'll be fine, or they've always been fine, and then they're not. Either the glider hurts the animal, which could easily happen, or the other animal hurts the glider, and maybe they're not even doing it on purpose. It could easily be accidental. Their bones are very tiny and they're very small animals. So I would say no. That doesn't mean that they never could be, but it means that it would be a risk that I would not be willing to take. Have you ever thought about what your gliders would be as humans? Because I have, and I think it's so funny because I imagine them as humans and it's like a crack up. No, I mean, I think about my gliders' personalities, but I haven't really had that like mental exercise to think about them as humans. That's an interesting idea. I'll have to try that. I train my cats to play with my Suggies. Okay, so here's the thing. Cat saliva has a lot of bacteria, so one bite or scratch from a cat can be deadly, even if it's a playful thing. So even if you think it's safe and it has been safe and yada yada yada, I would not ever recommend that. I mean, you do whatever you feel like is good for you, but I'm not going to recommend that for anybody. Let's see. Oh, you live in the Middle East, but where can I get a great pouch online? I don't know where you can get a great pouch that ships to the Middle East. I mean, there's some places on Etsy and stuff like that, but I don't know. In a lot of my, if you go to my toys playlist, I have quite a few different vendors. I have one that does ship internationally from the UK, but I don't know if she ships to the Middle East or not. But that would be the Suggy Flower Fairy. It would be the one person that I would look at first for you. But besides that, I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay. You guys are asking such good questions and I need to try to get caught up. I love your videos. My question is, what kind of toys are best for sugar gliders to play with? I have a whole playlist of toy videos and why I like each thing, kind of, and I think having a variety of toys is more important than one. A wheel is the number one that they need to have, and a good, safe wheel. So I would reference my toy videos for the rest. Late comment, but just saying, I also believe animals probably used to talk. Also, before the fall, heaven and earth were one. So heavenly beings would have also been in the garden, and they talk. Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's a deep theological discussion. That's a thinker. Because it doesn't really say that heaven and earth were one, but God walked the earth with Adam and Eve. So I don't know. And I don't really like to think of heaven as necessarily having like a location. I think it's kind of more beyond where our brains think. Anyway, Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. How do you handle their poop, since sugar gliders poop a lot? They do. You really just gotta get used to it and like get used to just cleaning up after it. I don't really know. I mean, you get used to anticipating when they poop and being ready to clean it up or catch it or be over a sink or whatever. You just kind of learn to work around it. Same with the story of the burning bush and when he was talking to the bush, spiritual awakening sort of stuff. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you need, baby wipes are great for poop, for sure. Have you ever tasted boba? No, I have not. My mom was terrified of mice, but once she saw their tail and I said that they were like squirrels, she liked them. That's funny. A classic gray with a het for cremino needs to be bred with a cremino or another classic with a het for cremino. Same for Lou or Platt or any other recessive gene. Lisa, you're so smart. Don't trust a cat with your sugar gliders, they will kill it. Yeah, they could. They could. And like we talked about in our other live I did on Tuesday, the idea of something being safe does not mean that it's absolutely going to happen or not happen. It's the possibility of that happening. So I would say it's not safe, not because every single time a cat is around a glider it will kill it, but because it can and has happened many times. Dominant genes such as whiteface or mosaic, and they only need one glider to pass the trait. So interesting. Will you make Etsy store for you already do? No, I don't have an Etsy store. I don't sell any retail items. I don't really have a desire to do that. I might have I might make merch eventually, like shirts or, you know, something like that once my channel grows a little bit more, but I don't have any desire I don't sew and I don't want to make sugar glider items personally. I'd rather promote people that do. How much space do you recommend giving your sugar gliders? I have a small room in my house they could play in and a huge empty basement. Which room do you recommend using for their playtime? I would say whichever one you can actually make safe, whichever one you can make glider proof, which has to do, I don't think that you can really make any room 100% glider proof where they cannot be supervised, because they could actually like chew up like the molding or like the crown molding or like, you know, the molding, like the baseboards. They could chew up the carpet or whatever flooring you have. Same with like the drywall. Some people say, oh, I glider proof my room and I let them just free roam in my bedroom, which is fine if they're being supervised, but if you're just leaving them overnight, they could chew through your mattress. There's all kinds of things that they could actually get into. So I would say either one, as long as you can either have it be supervised or completely glider proof it. And I don't really know what that would look like, to be honest. And if you don't have a glider that has a tendency to chew, then you might be more likely, but it still is not a foolproof plan. If you had to get another pet that was not a sugar glider, what would it be? Oh boy, that's a hard one. We had a dog for years and I loved her to pieces. And she passed away about 1.5 years ago. And I love dogs. I love how loyal they are and how sweet they are. Where I live though doesn't have a great like dog area, so it would have to be a small dog, and I would have to be, so I don't know, probably a dog, I guess. I also think bunnies are kind of cool. Probably a dog or a bunny. And if I had a bunny, I would like to free roam it, but I also have a lot of wood in my house and I'm afraid it would chew up my baseboards. So, I don't know. Different diets tend to give different poop results. The pastier the diet, the pastier the poop, I would think. Maybe. I've only had, I don't know. I think generally healthy sugar glider poop is pretty similar in texture, but I've never fed any other diet than what I feed, so I don't know if that for sure. Would you give up water or sugar gliders for a day only? I drink a lot of water, and there's been days where I haven't been able to interact with my sugar gliders, so I would probably say sugar gliders because I get to see them the next day, and I don't want to be thirsty for a whole day. Unless I could drink a lot of other liquids for the day, then I would say the water. Is it safe for sugar gliders to be in tropical environment? They can't get too hot. Like, if it's too hot, they can overheat. So, or a cold environment. Yeah, they can get too hot or too cold. So you need to make sure that they're in that range that's healthy for them. How can people convince their parents to get a glider? I don't think it's smart to convince them unless they actually are excited about it and want to be involved in helping with the glider. I have a video that I talk about that, where I actually pretend to be my 10-year-old self, and it's really embarrassing, but it was fun to make and with my kids, and I bring up some points about that. I think that sugar gliders are a family responsibility and should be done responsibly with a family involved. Okay, thanks. Another question, sorry. Do you recommend using water bowls or water bottles? I think water bottles, but you need to make sure you have at least 2, and that you check them every night and make sure that they're not clogged. Water bowls can get messy, but whatever you guys want to do is fine. I just think you can't put a ton of water in the water bowl because you don't want to get your glider super wet. So I personally prefer water bottles, but I'm also, I got a water silo, so I'm also going to incorporate that water silo in their mix as well. Water is super deadly to sugar gliders when it's left open because they can drown. Yeah, you have to put a minimal amount in it, and so then I would be afraid that maybe they would get too thirsty, or they would, spill it or whatever, and then they wouldn't get to have water to drink. So, and they could poop and pee in it. Would you rather get all of your glider food free or all their toys free? Oh, toys? The food's not really that expensive. I mean, I guess the vitamins are not fun to buy, and like the pellets and stuff, but the toys, for sure. That's just more fun. Let's see. Thank you for your open-minded, chill attitude about talking about religion. Yeah. I think that we should be able to talk about those things more openly and have less stigma about them, for sure. My faith is a huge part of my life, so it's really, I don't feel like I can filter that out of every conversation, especially when we're having candid things like this. Like, I don't think I can or should. And so if I'm talking about my beliefs, then other people should be able to talk about theirs as well, and we should be able to have a conversation. Bunnies and gliders shouldn't be housed in the same room. Listeria, known as snuffles, is deadly to gliders and common in rabbits. Lisa, you are just a encyclopedia of knowledge. Well, I will not get a bunny then. That just killed that dream. No, actually, it wasn't a very realistic dream in the first place, so. Fun little riddle. There are 10 fishes in a tank. 4 drown. How many are left? Fish don't drown. Is that the answer? I have a water bottle next to their kitchen, and I give fresh every night with their dinner, and I have 2 water bottles. Yeah. Do y'all call it breakfast or dinner? Oh, dinner. When I go to give them their food, even though it's their breakfast, I call it dinner. Could you say hi to my daughter, Eliza? Is it Eliza? Did I pronounce it right? Hi, Eliza. If I pronounced it wrong, tell me and I'll say it right. I'm going to sign off here in a minute though, you guys. I do make a lot of toys. That is true. It's so funny that they definitely know me and that they are bonded to me, but someone else comes in the room and they shy away. I know it kind of makes you feel special though, doesn't it? When they treat you differently than they treat somebody else. Like when I put my gliders on someone else and then they want to come back to me, it's like, oh, they love me and they trust me. I love it. I do not want a snake. No, thank you. I actually don't really mind like little garden snakes, but I have no desire to have one. I just heard a story the other day about a snake that escaped their enclosure and it got into their sugar glider cage and they have a colony in there, and the colony ate the snake. They killed and ate it. They attacked it and ate it. That was a twist I wasn't expecting. I thought that it would be the other way around. Thanks for staying on with us so long. It's been fun chatting or cleaning my house and listening. Oh yeah, I know, I love multitasking while I listen to these kind of videos. Do you have 2 snakes, sugar gliders? I didn't realize that. Yes, I'm so excited about the long weekend. I'm really hoping that my hubby gets some time off. He's been working so hard. Ooh, you want a pet python. Cool. All right, guys. Do you recommend putting any small plants? I don't recommend putting small plants in my sugar glider's cage because that would involve dirt. And I can just see that being a huge mess. Basically, they would just destroy it. Like, they're not going to just treat that plant nice. That thing's going to get tipped over. The dirt's going to be everywhere. The plant's going to probably be ripped to shreds. No, I don't. Plus, like, potting soil and dirt are kind of 2 different things, and I would be concerned about the stuff that's in the potting soil not being good for my gliders. And I don't know that a plant would live without enough natural light and without the right soil. So yeah, no, I've never looked into that. Sorry, this is a bit of a rant, but it goes back to my other thing. There was a man saying that gliders like to swim just because they can for a short time, and people were agreeing with him. Oh no! They don't like to swim. That's sad. I don't like it. And they can't swim for very long. Many gliders have drowned in toilets. That's why if you have gliders, you're supposed to always leave your toilet lids down so that if they escape and they get in the toilet, they won't die. Which, I mean, obviously they couldn't just swim and swim and swim and swim forever. So, but it's not, yeah. No, that's terrible. They don't have webbed fingers and aren't made to swim, nor should they. No, they should not. And they don't need to be wet. So like, and they could get cold and sick. Ignorance is abundant on this planet. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to stop looking at the comments. I'm so sorry if you commented. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This was a really long live, but I enjoyed every minute of it. You guys had some really great questions. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Enjoy it with your family. Hopefully you can, and your sugar gliders if you have them. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.